Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream on the Orbital Alliance YouTube channel. It's good to see y'all here. We already got some chat rolling. Hopefully you all can hear me. Let me double check my... Yep, we're good. Seems like a minimal delay here. I think it might just be a few seconds. That's pretty great. So we'll keep that real. Hopefully y'all are doing fine on this this wonderful Wednesday. I can be honest, I almost completely forgot about tonight. Dinner tonight a few hours ago. He was like, yeah, you got your stream tonight. And I was like, stream? I'm like, it's like Sunday night right now. What are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, it's Wednesday. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm like, it's unbelievable how quickly Wednesdays roll around. The pace is just nuts. Ron in the chat here. Oh my gosh, I love it. The classic Ron Colson married man comments. So good. Yeah, well, kind of getting into the mess of things. Obviously this week is the first week of streaming where, you know, we've kind of been I guess I'm going to jump into the heavy stuff, immersed into, you know, this conflict in the world with Ukraine and Russia. And, you know, I'm not going to try to like weigh stuff down too much, but I did decide to express solidarity with the nation of Ukraine by putting their flag in the stream tonight. And, you know, I just believe very firmly in independence and in free nations. And without getting too deep into the politics of it, I just wanted to show my support for them. I believe in what President Zelensky's doing and what the free people of Ukraine are doing. And hopefully you guys out there in the world are supporting them with whatever way you can, even if it's just, you know, flying a flag or posting something, you know, in support of. You never know how that might change the world. And it seems like the good is, you know, kind of on the surface here. So, you know, just wanted to make note of that because history is unfolding, and I think that sort of falls in line with a little bit of the you know, sort of the virtue of the channel here. We have the word alliance in the name. And when I built this channel and I started brainstorming names, you know, a huge value of the YouTube channel I wanted was community, and of course people coming together. And the goal was to be a multinational community, that there is no, like an international community. There's no borders, barriers. Anybody from any country can learn about space, right? Like that's kind of the thing I had in mind with it. And, you know, it does make me sad to know that there are some people out there, who are so staunch and kind of like, you know, rigid about not wanting to be together. With people from other nations and from other cultures, with other creeds and rules and governance policies. You know, yes, we can be different and still cooperate. And I think in space is such a wonderful example of that. Even amidst all this, you know, the NASA and Roscosmos, the Russian Space Agency, there's tension and there's some words being thrown around from the Russian leader, but you know, they still got to cooperate. There's American astronauts and Russian astronauts on the space station, and you know, they got to you know, keep each other alive. Like they have no choice. Like you can't let a war get in the way of that. And that's just, again, a testament to what space is all about, working together. And the International Space Station is a wonderful symbol of that. So, you know, if we can do it for space, we can do it on Earth. So I just again want to kind of reiterate and solidify the reason why we have the word alliance in the name of the channel. It's kind of like a pseudonym for Space Alliance, Space Partnership, the Orbital Alliance. If you're part of this alliance, you believe in unity, you believe in cooperation, you believe in space travel and space exploration, and that the only way to do it is to do it together. So if we're united as one Earth, you know, we can go to space together and we can have fun, we can enjoy it, we can learn about the universe and why we're here. So that is the reason why I have the Ukrainian flags. So you know, whatever your beliefs are in the world, any end of the spectrum. Be praying, be thinking about, be doing whatever you can to support Ukraine and what they're doing right now, because it's very rare, and I think they are doing the impossible. Sorry, I have to turn something off. They're doing the impossible right now. So keep fighting the good fight, and you have our support here on the YouTube channel. This is a safe place for anybody. Moving on from that, let's talk about some space stuff for the week. Ron already has a question. Let's jump right in. I just realized I don't have a water. I might get that in a little bit here. I'm very thirsty. I had some epic barbecue pork for dinner tonight. We crock potted some like pork ribs or pork shoulder ribs or whatever, and they're all soft. And the trick to that, what we did, we crock pot it in root beer, and it makes it nice and sweet and tender. It's awesome, really good. And then we just dumped Stubbs barbecue sauce from Austin, Texas, in it, and it was delicious. But now I'm stupid thirsty, so I'm gonna have to exit for some water in a little bit, which is fine. Which might give me a chance to use my "Be Right Back" button. I've never used that in the stream. I've made a button on my Stream Deck, which is how I control my scenes. Ron is a resident video switcher, would understand this. This Stream Deck here, I've custom made some buttons. Like here, I'm just going to switch to some stuff so you can see, like I can switch to my screen share. I have a gaming stream, which is like a full screen. I have a VR stream, but there's nothing on it right now. I've got my subscribe screen. But I do have a Be Right Back stream or screen here. Let me show you. Yeah, it's a short break, but I don't know if I have I have my microphone activated for that one, so I get pretty quiet. So that's the behind the scenes, everybody. You can make whatever you want, and you can customize it in OBS. I made all these looks that you guys see with the frames and the stars and everything. Like I bought the package that has all that, and then I customized it to what I want. I put my own logos in there, but I just made the buttons and I just press them whatever I want. But I do have a Be Right Back, a short break, and I've always wanted to use it. So, it's little things in life, right? But anyway, Ron has a question. What is the latest on station? I'm assuming you're talking in reference to with the conflict and how things are going up there. And to the best of my knowledge, things are good with the people on board. Like there's no conflict. Everybody's safe in the space station. Like I said, I know that the head of Roscosmos, Dmitry Rogozin, is quite what's the word? Up in arms, animated, or he's been very verbal on Twitter with some like really kind of like subtle, like loose threats towards the U.S. and other nations for breaking partnerships and whatnot, which is sad. I would hope from a leader of one of the best and most renowned space agencies in the world, which has my respect 100%. Even though they've been in tension with us across decades for the space race and everything, Roscosmos is our partner, and they are wonderful at space flight. They know a lot about space stations, and they have really reliable rocketry. Yes, it might be outdated, but it's reliable. And I think they're an incredible testament to space exploration, and it makes me sad to see their leader kind of throw that away for political gain. It's kind of sad. I haven't heard much from NASA. I think they're trying to stay pretty quiet. There's a lot of stuff going on with Space Launch System, SLS, and Orion, the new rocket. So I think they're focusing on that. People have been asking, but not getting much out of it. But it sounds like the partnership is still there. They have to cooperate. Houston and Moscow are like, the two big, in Germany, I think too, or like, there's a couple space, like headquarters around the world where they can talk to space station from there, and they have mission control centers. And, I think they're still in partnership and doing well. I know there's been some astronauts, American astronauts I've followed on Twitter who are posting about the conflict a little bit, and they are, I should call it a war. I'm sorry, it is a war. I feel like I got a little bit like too careful. It's a war. They're even talking about the war, and they're of course, astronauts train in Russia for years before they fly, especially those who were flying on Soyuz rockets. They learn the language, they meet the people, they train for the spacesuits, they train for the rocket and all the other procedures. So they form some really good relationships with the people there, and they have been ever since the early 90s. But those astronauts are saying that their colleagues, their Russian cosmonaut colleagues, are, appalled at what's going on. They're not in support of what their leader is doing, and they do believe in cooperation. So it's I think that's kind of all I know at this point for how things are going with NASA, Roscosmos, space station, and the war. So hopefully things reach peace, and then we can resume space exploration like we've known it for the last 30 years. Sorry, Josh, for making you hungry. I have a ton of extra pork, so I could just slap some in a box and mail it to you. I just can't guarantee it'll be good by the time it gets to you. So, but we do have a ton left over. Basically, lunch for like 6 more days, which was the goal when I bought like 5 pounds of pork, which was beyond the number of poundage that I needed. Before I forget, we should do the Funko of the week. I should make like a little animation for the bottom of the screen, like right here, that says like, the Funko of the week. So maybe we'll get to that at some point. If you're just tuning into the stream, welcome. It's good to have you guys here. Thank you so much. Here to talk about space and all things with it. But first, we're going to stop talking about space so we can talk about Funko Pops. You good? Drinks? Do I need a drink? Yes, please. Kayla's going to give you a drink of water. That's very kind of her. Thank you very much. Let's see. Who have I not done? Oh, gosh. Again, like I said, every week gets harder. I need to find a list and keep it here on my desk so I don't forget who I haven't picked here. Goodness. Okay, here we go. I don't think I've done him before. Oh no. Duke Silver fell over. I know we've done Duke Silver. Thank you for the water. And the Fonzie is hiding back here. I'm moving the Fonzie to the front. I know we've done the Fonzie too. Fonz. But I'm going to choose Conan O'Brien. Do you guys like Conan O'Brien? This is a figure that represents him from the Conan in Berlin special in the Conan Without Borders series, which I love. Again, it kind of touches on the Without Borders and the alliance factor that we were talking about earlier, just being in support of each other and joining together. Conan believes in that too. And I've been a huge fan of Conan since I was in high school, probably like 15 or 16 years old. I used to stay up with my dad and watch him because my dad would watch like Leno or Letterman, and he didn't really care much for Conan, I don't think. I think he enjoyed him, but he didn't like stay up for him. But I wanted to watch Conan O'Brien. And all throughout, I've been a huge fan of his. But I love his traveling segments where he goes around the world, and his mantra is, that people are just different, and you should go out of your way to learn about people's cultures and then laugh at yourself along the way. So one of my favorite ones is when he went to Germany. And as you guys know, if you've watched some of the streams before, I'm a quarter German. My grandmother is 100% German. My family came from Germany, and I have an affinity for learning about it. And Conan does a great job of introducing you to some funny concepts there. So this is him in some traditional lederhosen, and he dances very funnily in that. Funnily, is that the right word? So Conan Without Borders, showing us how to live together in this time of war and separation. That's my choice for the week. Again, we got to make a list. This is episode 14. This is live stream number 14. Wild. So we got to make a list. If anyone wants to help me with that, let me know. Otherwise, I'll go back and find it. Oh, that water is so good. Thank you. I got the silent thumbs up off camera from my wife, Kayla. Thank you. Oh, okay. Sweet. Well, 8:24. I know we started a hair late tonight. All right, let me open up Twitter here real quick, and let me see what's been going on. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, I've mentioned Rocket Lab, that American/New Zealand rocket company. They've been doing a ton of great stuff. They've been launching the Electron rocket, which has been delivering satellites to orbit, commercially. They've been producing the Neutron rocket, which is like their even bigger one, and that's coming up, and that's gonna look super awesome. They're engineering a lot of really cool technologies for that. And I mentioned last week, I think that Rocket Lab put out their brand new logo, which looks fantastic. And Peter Beck is their CEO or president, or one of the, he's the face of the company. He's from New Zealand, and he is, really, really interesting personality. I love listening to him. And I think he's a very intelligent man, also a very respectful and kind person. His presence on video and on his company appears top notch. Like, I think he's a quality person. So I really want to see Rocket Lab win. I want to see them do really well. They kind of quietly and innocently came up the back, from compared to SpaceX, but here they are. They're starting to become a peer of companies like SpaceX, and I think that's amazing. More power to you. Go Rocket Lab. But they announced that they're going to be launching Neutron, I think exclusively from Wallops in Virginia. So the east coast of the United States, kind of like halfway up the coast. There's a launch site there. NASA launches from there. The government, in the Air Force, I think, launches stuff from there. Is it Wallops launch? What do they call it? There's like a full name for it. Flight facility. Maybe that's what they call it. It's a NASA building or NASA facility. So yeah, they're gonna be flying out of Wallops. Let me go to Rocket Lab and see if they have a picture of the facility that they want to build in the launch site. Oh, my internet. Come on. Rocket Lab. Well, my internet's taking a dive. Hopefully the stream hangs in there. Sorry if there are any blips. Maybe Rocket Lab's site is down because everything else. Yeah, I think it might be down. Sorry, guys. Everything else is working except their website. So, but it's exciting. I'm excited for them to have their spot, and I don't know why they chose it over places like Kennedy or their own launch site that they have at the southern end of New Zealand, all the way at the bottom of the planet. There's a lot of different places you can launch from, but it's cool. It's unique, and I think again, more power to them. So go Rocket Lab. Godspeed to you guys. Looking around here. What else is going on in the space world? It's crazy. I mean, like, a lot of my feeds have been pretty jam-packed with stuff surrounding the war and news, which I'm glad for because it keeps me up to date. Yeah, well, it seems like the James Webb Space Telescope is being calibrated. It's in its 3-month calibration process, which is really cool. They have released a few more pictures of it focusing on one star. They're calibrating all the hexagonal mirrors to like hone in on the right spot, create an image, and get it sharp, tack sharp, and highly resolved. So that's really great. Let's see. Let me get the chat up in here. Sorry, open my chat window in OBS. That'll be helpful. Are they ones going to try to reuse rockets? Yeah, Ron, that is correct. Rocket Lab, Electron, I feel like is partially reusable. I think. And Neutron will be 100% reusable. And it's like, it's kind of like Starship and Falcon 9 in one. It doesn't have separate. It got some stages, I think. I might be speaking out of turn. Let me see if this website's working yet. Rocket. Neutron. Yeah, it's so cool. Oh yeah, it's human capable. They're trying to make it rated for human spaceflight. I'm just going to show you their website real quick because it's really great. You guys can take a look on your end too, but take a look at this. Let me scoot it over so we get a full image. There we go. There's Neutron. Look at that thing. And it's a totally different material than Starship. It kind of takes a lot of notes from SpaceX, but that's fine. They made a lot of nods to them in the announcement trailer, but the fairing, like the top part, like up here, it like opens up like mandibles, you know, releasing the payload instead of having and it just closes back up again. And then the whole rocket lands vertically on land instead of, you know, like SpaceX where they land on the drone ships. Or it doesn't jettison a fairing like the Falcon 9, the two like halves that like pop off. So highly reusable. And the legs are all like built in, you know, it's like structural, which is really neat. Oh, there's the new building. That's what they want to do. Yeah, Wallops Flight Facility and Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport at Virginia's Eastern Shore. So that's a pretty cool looking building. Look at that. And they got the brand new logo. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yes. Oh, it crops it. The responsiveness of the website scales it up, so I kind of missed the image. This is the best I'm going to get for you guys. Sorry. Yeah, there's the payload, like in this case, like a satellite, and the second stage. There's like a small second stage that they can put in the fairing there. Kind of spits it out. Really neat. It's a cool design. I really like it. I mean, and the whole like atomic language around like that they use for their rockets is just brilliant. It's scientific, makes you feel advanced. Electron, neutron. I think they actually had a proton rocket early on, so they're following suit. So very cool. Sweet. Very 50s sci-fi. It is. It does look like that, doesn't it? Yeah, I think we've been moving closer and closer to that. There was somebody released an image maybe a year ago or 2 years ago when Starbase Texas was being built and they were showing Starship prototypes being built. It's like they put a side-by-side to, I think, a Popular Science issue from the 50s or the early 60s of like a future rocket factory. It's like identical, or it's pretty darn close at least. And I'll wonder if I can find that too, but it is literally the future, but we maybe have taken notes from that, or the 50s actually just knew what works for aerodynamics and rocketry, and it's like you have to have the rocket look like this for it to be aerodynamically successful. But either way, I'm really glad with it looking like this because it just makes you feel good about, you know, history finally being achieved. If it looked totally different from what pop culture was doing, you know, it kind of starts to feel weird. You know, it feels a little less full circle. Although, I mean, I guess that's a little bit backwards because I have seen those drawings from like 1890 of people imagining space flight, and it's literally like people in like dirigibles, like hot air balloons, like going up. You know, it's like a Zeppelin going all the way up into space. You know, and people had no idea what it took to go to space back then. You know, they were like 60, 70 years shy of that. So, you know, we're pretty far off from that. We ended up being pretty far off from those images. But, you know, the next 50, 60, 70 years, we've done pretty well with being accurate. Maybe we've already predicted what 2060, 2070, 2080 will look like right now. Maybe we have a good idea. So be looking at those popular sci-fi pictures, and maybe you'll get a glimpse of the future. Oh, man. Let's see. trying to think what else has been going on in the space world. Total side note, unrelated to space. We saw the Uncharted movie today. Kayla and I went, and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Josh, I know I've been talking to you about Uncharted for a while now. But for those not familiar, there's a video game series called Uncharted that's 2007, 2009, 2012, I think, were the first 3 games. There was a 4th game in 2017, I think, 2016. And then there was a 5th one, which I actually have right here. Lost Legacy. I've borrowed all 5 of the games from my friend Ryan. And I played the first 4, and this is kind of like a bonus game, like a side story. And I have yet to play it. I have it installed, but I want to play it. But they did make a movie starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, and it's like kind of almost exactly the same, but like they made up their own story. Follows the same characters and ideas and some locations and themes, even some plot points, but they kind of mashed it all up into one movie and kind of made it their own. But it was so much fun. It's like a heist adventure, Indiana Jones kind of movie. After Ancient Gold sort of deal. Really, really cool. So we loved it. It was fantastic. And, Tom Holland's great. Mark Wahlberg's great. I'm a sucker for heists and adventure movies. I love history. So it's a added bonus to be learning about, famous, people. Are you good? Is she making noise again? Our daughter has learned how to get out of her room now. So we're extra cautious of her sneaking out of her room, which is kind of dangerous. So we're sorry for being a little bit on edge tonight. So we're, Kayla's on the move. Wonder how those legs will handle the exhaust plume. Oh yeah. There's enough space around them, so I'm assuming there's plenty to go around, any space to go around it out 4 directions. So, hopefully they don't melt. Unrelated, can another class of star sustain a habitable zone? I would think so. Sure. And by another class, I think you mean like size and heat. Like a much larger, hotter star, like a white or a blue star. I think it's possible if you're just far enough away from it. There's they call it a Goldilocks zone, the habitable zone. There's probably a Goldilocks zone just about everywhere. Unless there's something I just don't know about. But yeah, I think that'd be totally plausible. Josh. Okay, but will anyone who hasn't played the game like that movie? Absolutely. I think of people like my dad. My dad and I love watching movies together. And we love heist, action, suspense, that kind of thing, and just action, high intensity action. You absolutely 100% would enjoy it. It's a fun movie, and you'll like it just as a standalone. Of course, there's just a lot of references and outfits on people. You're like, that's from the game, or like, I know that character. There's little things there, little like some plot moments. You're like, oh yeah, that's really similar to this game. It's really similar to that game. But like I said, they made their own story. There is nothing in line for the most part. There's one little thing, but it really wasn't part of this movie. I think it will be for the sequels a little bit more, but similar to the game. So whoever you are out there, you can totally go watch it and have a good time, and you'll learn about the characters. Or you could watch some of those like this movie or this game in 5 minutes videos online. You can just catch up right before the movie, spend like 20 minutes watching Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, and Uncharted 4, and just kind of get a sense for it. But I would say ultimately it has the biggest ties to Uncharted 4. They drew the most storyline from Uncharted 4. Oh, cool. Let's see. So I was thinking a little bit about all the different, satellites, not satellites, but like laboratories, space laboratories. I thought that'd be a fun topic to talk about tonight. So if you guys are familiar with any, There are, telescopes, space telescopes. We've talked about James Webb quite a bit. That's a good example. Hubble, of course. That one orbits Earth, pretty closely. But there are actually a ton of other observatories out there that we use to observe the galaxy and observe the universe. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of catch up and research on what some of those are. I don't know all of them, but there are a lot of really cool things that have been discovered because of them. So let's go back to science class for a little bit. Light spectrums. There are several different types of light. So there's visible light, which is so is this the let me see, what was the yeah, it is Roy G. Biv, right? The red, orange, yellow, green, and blue, indigo, violet. That's kind of like the visible light spectrum. Those are the colors that we see in visible light, which is what our eyes see. And then beyond it, there's infrared, which is just a little bit further off. Human eyes cannot see infrared. And there's X-rays and microwaves and ultraviolet light. Is gamma one of them? I'm trying to remember what the types of light spectrums are. Let's see. Here's a chart I'm going to reference. So gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, visible light spectrum, and then infrared. Radar, FM, TV, shortwave, and AM. Okay, so there's different types of waves there. So they're all in a spectrum. They're all in a range, and we can only see the tiniest sliver with our eyes. Which means that you can build telescopes that can see in those other spectrums and then adapt them into images that our eyes can see. So if you build a telescope that can see using X-ray, light spectrum, we can see things we would never otherwise discover, which is really helpful in space when things are so far away and they're so bright. You can, and they emit all kinds of weird light signals, and it helps us learn about how things form, how things die, how they move even in the universe. We probably wouldn't have discovered half the things that we know without looking in other light spectrums. And I think it's really useful to be building them. Hubble sees, I think, invisible light. I think James Webb is not going to be operating in visible light. I think that's one. So let's look at space observatories. Maybe list of space telescopes. So let's go down the list. Ron, you've got a chat here. Let's see. Have you seen anything about the glass orb on the moon? I have not. Can you inform me about that? Because I do not know what you're referencing. All right. So, all right. There's a lot here. And I might just go down the list and see if any I remember that I might stick out. But a lot of them have really long names. Most of them are acronyms. But there are a ton of observatories in space looking at the universe. And a lot of them have been terminated because we've been in space long enough that most of these have died. They've run out of battery, parts have failed, and they've either been deorbited or they're just floating around their space junk. So it looks like there's a host of X or gamma ray observatories. Compton Gamma Ray Observatory, Low Energy Gamma Ray Imager, High Energy Transient Explorer 2, International Gamma Ray Astrophysics Laboratory. Here's the ones that are still running. So that last one, that's Integral. It's an ESA one, which is the European Space Agency. NASA has the Swift Gamma Ray Burst Explorer that launched in 2004. What's ESA? Italian Space Agency. Okay, I guess I didn't know there was a name for that. I thought they were just part of ESA. Astrophotography Gamma and Immagini Leggero. That's my Italian. It spells agile, which always confuses me that, foreign nations oftentimes will use their native language for words, but the acronym is English. That always is interesting to me. Okay, Chinese says that there is what appears to be a glass orb. Not sure if it's on the far side or not. Crazy. Is that like a 2001 monolith kind of thing? Do they have an image of it? I'm assuming they do. Maybe their rover has found it. That's cool. Fermi Gamma Ray Space Telescope. That's NASA. Gamma Ray Burst Polarimeter. It's probably JAXA. It's the Japanese aerospace agency. Launched 2010. So a lot of these are that are flying right now. The gamma ray space telescopes are from the last 20 years. Moving on, X-ray. Let's go to the modern ones. There's a ton. There's probably like 20 different ones that are dead. Okay, the most popular one, and this one I knew, was the Chandra X-ray Observatory, which is, let's see. Hold on. Yeah, it's right. It was named after Subramanian Chandrasekhar. Right, he's that Indian American mathematician and astrophysicist. If you watched my Yerkes Observatory video, we reference him in there. I put a picture of him in there, and because he studied and observed at Yerkes. So, yeah, the director explained that he visited there, which is cool. So he's got an observatory in space named after him too, because he had such a profound impact on the space and astrophysics world. Yeah, but that's been up there since '99. Yeah, there's a bunch. Agile, another one. Nuclear spectroscopic telescope array, neutron star interior composition explorer, Spectre. There's a bunch. 2021. There was one launched in December. IXPE, the Imaging X-ray Polarimetry. Yeah, Polarimetry Explorer, commonly known as IXB or SMEX14. Okay, yeah, there's all these like acronyms and stuff that I don't know. Yeah, so that was just launched 3 months ago. That's really crazy. December 9th, 2021. Okay, ultraviolet. Hubble operates in ultraviolet. Okay, I didn't know that. What else we got here? Swift Gamma Ray Burst Explorer. Hisaki is a Japanese one. Venus Spectral Rocket Experiment. Astrosat. So really, I think Hubble is probably the primary ultraviolet one. Visible light, Hubble, of course. And then we've got Bright Constellation, Astrosat, Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite. Cheops. Okay, and this one, Kepler. Rest in pieces. The Kepler Space Telescope was my favorite space telescope of all. And I remember when it launched in 2009. Its primary mission was to search for exoplanets orbiting other stars, and it did. It discovered hundreds of them, but it had a critical failure and it shut down. It broke. But they did find a way to reboot it at like half capacity or something like that, and they basically were able to only do a certain type of work with it, and they repurposed it with a brand new mission. They called it K2, and it was still able to do some work, but not in the way it was meant to be. It was a pretty terrible thing, and it happened pretty shortly after launch. Like, I want to say a couple months, maybe a year or two. Really sad. I named after Johannes Kepler, famous, astronomer. And yeah, I just really liked the mission. I thought it looked cool. Let me pull up Wikipedia and show you the Kepler telescope here. There we go. There it is on the right. Oh no, my computer froze. Hold on. I hope I didn't just break it. I'm gonna switch back to my screen. Sorry. Hopefully you saw it. I think Chrome just glitched out on me, or Windows altogether. Oh, we're back. Okay, great. Sorry if I blipped there. Ronnie said they saw a picture that looks like taken from above it. Okay. So maybe they have like a probe orbiting the moon and they took some satellite imagery. So yeah, Kepler. I love Kepler. Very, very cool. Infrared and sub-millimeter. Okay. Yeah, what else? Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer and James Webb Space Telescope operating in infrared. Yeah, right, like we mentioned before. Microwave. Odin. There's one named Odin. There's a couple other ones, but they're all decommissioned. Radio. Spectre operates in radio. Particle detection. Yeah, well, this starts to be a little bit different. You know, the alpha magnetic spectrometer is on board the space station. On the top of it, it's like a telescope in that it like collects cosmic rays that hit it, and it creates imagery from that. It studies the matter that it hits it. So it's like a giant magnet. It's interesting. You know what? You should watch the Chris Cassidy. Let me see, documentary on Disney Plus. It's called Among the Stars. I mentioned it before. It's like a 6-episode mini-series documentary thing. And they talk about the mission of repairing the AMS because he was a part of that mission. Very, very delicate, expensive project. It was kind of like, it's broken. We can fix it. But if you guys break it, it'll be done. It's just space junk after that. So really, really tense. And then there was one for gravitational waves, the LISA Pathfinder in 2015 to 2017. And then there's an upcoming list of stuff to be launched in 2022 to 2037. Oh my goodness. Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope. Wide Field Infrared Survey Telescope. That's NASA. Plato, that's ESA. Astrosat 2, Sphere X, Ptolemy, Euclid, or ESA. It's a near-infrared space telescope. X-ray imaging and spectroscopy mission. That's JAXA. It's Japanese. X-ray polarimeter. That's such a weird word. I'm probably saying it wrong. Polarimeter. International Lunar Observatory. That's great. Laser interferometer space antenna. That's ESA. That's the 2037 one. And something to note, all these orbit in different places. Earth orbit, low Earth orbit, halo orbit. How about that, Josh? There's one that orbiting halo. Near equatorial orbit. Sorry. Sun, Earth, Lagrange point 2. Exactly where James Webb is. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to look at this stuff. I haven't looked at them before. They tend to go up here and there, but obviously Webb stole the show in December. Tune into the chat. Now that you have superpowers. Now what superpowers do these cosmic rays give you? Well, the gamma ones make you the Hulk, right? Yeah, I mean, maybe the ability to taste food a lot more. I think, like, you know, if you eat like fried chicken, it tastes like super fried chicken. That's probably as much as it gives you. Leap tall buildings in a single bound. Sorry, my brain may have already forgotten what you were referencing, Ron. Oh, you're responding to the sorry. You're responding to Josh, what superpowers? I like read them as two totally separate questions and like didn't compute for my head. I follow you. My bad. So thirsty. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the space telescope era. Something that was cool about the space shuttle is you could launch a crew and deliver a satellite or an observatory up in the space shuttle in the payload bay. Just open up the doors, like spit out the telescope with the arm, and release it and then fly away. It was a really cool way to deploy satellites into orbit and observatories. And I believe that's how Hubble was delivered. But we can't really do that anymore. Stuff looks very different. We might be able to do it with Starship. It's possible for SpaceX. Hey, Greg, I see your chat there. Welcome, man. Speaking of radiation and such, anyone seen Chernobyl on HBO or read the book Midnight in Chernobyl? Dude. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is a good. Oh my gosh, I love that series. It's amazing. I've watched it all the way through. I think 4, maybe 5 times now. I can't get enough of it. It's a masterpiece of cinematic storytelling. Period. It's incredibly grim, incredibly dire. There's little to nothing that is cheery about it. So you do need to be prepared for those of you out there who don't know what it is. But yeah, it follows the Chernobyl nuclear accident in 1986. It was 86, right? And yeah, it's, of course, that whole site has been, dangerous to be in because of radiation from a exploded nuclear reactor core in Chernobyl, Ukraine, which was formerly Soviet Union at the time. There was a huge cover-up from the Soviet Union, a bunch of lies and propaganda that made it problematic. And the show follows the people trying to help tell the truth, and it's really amazing. The actors, play historical characters. What's the guy who plays Legasov, Valery Legasov? Jared Harris, and the other guy who plays Boris. I know his name. He's in everything. I see his face. He's amazing. He was in Thor. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Nuts. Why am I forgetting his name right now? Stellan Skarsgård. That's it. Yeah, huge cast. So good. But yeah, you said you read the book and it's based on, definitely worth the read. Crazy how little people knew about the radiation, or about radiation in general. Yeah. I mean, the incident certainly schooled the world in radiation, and I don't think if it didn't happen, I wouldn't know much about it right now without having watched the series or learned a little bit about it. So I can't imagine having lived through it. The crazy part is that, Russia just invaded that area the other day to take it over. And there was actually combat happening in the exclusion zone, which is terrifying. I mean, to have the thought about weaponizing a nuclear disaster site, no thanks. No thanks. But yes, I mean, there's a video that someone made on YouTube. I would recommend it. It's like they called Chernobyl, the series, a masterclass in storytelling. Was it Chernobyl masterclass? Let me see what it says. A masterclass in perspective. Thomas Flight is the channel. It's a verified channel. It's a 16-minute video. Watch it. 100%. It's so good. It is so good. And I want to watch it again after this. I probably will. I really enjoy drama and dramatic storytelling, especially if it's historical. That's like a sweet spot for me, because I really love to dig really deeply into history and getting to visualize what happened. And visual storytelling through movies and shows give you a chance to live through history like you never would have before. And certainly, I don't want to be living near Chernobyl for that reason. So I get to watch this and learn about it, without having to, expose my life, thanks to actors and directors and writers. So we all can learn from stuff like that. So man, everyone go watch that. It's very intense, and not for kids or young family whatsoever, but very, 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 very informative, very good storytelling. Yeah, I'm trying to think here. Side note, I just remembered there's a video series or like some YouTuber. There's a guy who he lives in Europe, and I think he's American. He literally just hops on trains and rides around Europe. And I'm not talking about like buying tickets, hopping in like cargo trains and like coal and stuff, and just like riding for free, like on like freight lines. And he hops around Europe, and he's been like sneaking into the exclusion zone and camping in there forever. And you can go there and you get light doses of radiation. It's kind of calmed down now, but like there's certain areas are not safe. And they bring dosimeters, but this guy would go in there and he just climbs everything. He climbs the famous theme park, the Ferris wheel in Pripyat, and he climbs all the way up there. I mean, this like rotting metal structure, he just climbs it. And he just stands up there with like holding nothing. The dude has no fear. Then he climbed like the power grid towers and just kind of sat up there, and he could see all the reactors. I mean, it's terrifying to think that there's like no one around. Like if you fell off of that and broke your neck, you would die, because if Ukraine authorities came in at all, if they even found you, you'd be in super trouble for being in this off limit zone. It's just, that dude blew my mind. Terrifying to watch that guy do that in those videos. I think they do tours, or at least they used to do tours pre-war, of course, through that area in somewhat of a safe way, because you can see some of the buildings and the zone, special sites in the zones that are like, memorable. Swimming pool is one, the theme park. I don't think you can really get near Reactor 4, but it's, I think they did do tours to a degree. A lot of the buildings are just deteriorating from the renovation, or the renovations. Definitely kind of one way to renovate by blowing up a nuclear reactor. Radiation. I think, obviously there's more than just paint peeling off the walls. Like the structures are falling apart because the radiation was so intense that even human-made structures like concrete and wood and paint and, so it's just breaking. There's a piano where all the strings are just popped off, stuff like that. Desks are falling apart. Clothes are starting to, break away. It's just creepy, really creepy to be there. And hopefully that never happens again. And also a taste of what would happen if things went south with this war, and, nuclear activity began. That would be really, really dire, really terrible. But anyway, yeah, good call there, Greg, with a good reference. I would love to read that book too. I wonder if is that on Audible? I have one Audible credit left after I canceled my subscription, or paused it rather. What's it called? Midnight Chernobyl. Yeah, by Adam Higginbotham. Is that it? Let's see. One of Audiophile's best audiobooks of 2019, which is when the series came out. Also, I listened to Herbert's Dune, 18 hours in the car, watched the 84 version and the 21 version. Any thoughts on the reboot? Yeah. Oh, okay, good. You listened on Audible. Yeah, this is it. Let me get by the camera. That's the cover there. It's not exposing all the way. Sweet. Well, I'm probably gonna. I would love to listen to that. Thanks for bringing that up to me. I'm probably gonna buy that with my last credit. Yeah. So Dune. That's a spacey topic. Let's talk about Dune. Josh, chime in here, buddy. So to be upfront, I knew zero about Dune until Josh, who's on the stream every week, introduced me to it and started hyping me up about the new movie that they're making. I did see the new movie, and it was awesome. I never saw the old one, the 84 one, and I definitely never read the books. So like I said, I watched the movie with like cold turkey, maybe had like the slightest idea of what kind of the premise was, but I didn't know the characters. I didn't know the names. It was new to me. So yes, amazing sci-fi. Absolutely. It was a marvel in visuals. I thought some of the visual aspects were so cool. And the funny story about that, my experience was we went to go see it in theaters, kind of the tail end of its release. I thought we were going to miss it in theaters, but we didn't. We got into a theater that was like still like the big theater. It wasn't like jammed into those little tiny corner theaters. So it was a huge screen. I don't think it was IMAX, but it was a really big screen at this theater we went to. And the volume was like super loud. It was really loud. And Kayla and I went, And I love my movies loud. I want to be immersed into the scenes, and I like it to be like feeling like the sound is all around me and in my head. So I'm all for loud movies because I feel like I'm there. But Kayla hated that, unfortunately, and I feel bad because I think she really did enjoy the movie, I think, but she loved the story and wants to read the books, I think, but she did not enjoy that experience when we went there. So we had very differing cinematic tales regarding Dune, seeing it in theaters. But man, I mean, what a cool premise, and I'm really excited for the next one. I don't know if I'll read the books. I think I might just enjoy this as a movie series. But I mean, Timothée Chalamet did phenomenally. Some of the effects, like the dragonfly ships with the like wings that flutter, that's super cool. And also the like impact shields that they had all over their bodies, their sword fighting and stuff, and it like takes the, what do they call them, like vibro shields, or I can't remember. Yeah, so good. Yeah, the 80 okay, let me back up here. I'm doing references in Star Wars now. Like how so? Spice. The movie is the first to finally do it justice. I waited 15 years for it. The 2000 miniseries is okay, but almost cartoonish. 84 was hard to watch. 16 years. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The 80s order was not good. It was a flop. Sting. Oh, it had a part. Yeah. Okay. That's funny. I would love to see him singing Fields of Gold with Paul. Hard to see Patrick Stewart and dislike him, but Josh Brolin was way better in the role. Yeah, Josh Brolin was brutal and awesome. Hans Zimmer wrote the music for the 21 version. Hans Zimmer, legend. I recommend the book for sure. It's a tad long, so the author can get philosophical forever, but it's good. Yeah, I mean, I also amazing, actually, not good. You're right. And that's what books are for. They give you the extra lore. Movies are just like the smallest amount of time you can jam as much content into, but you got to cut it up. I listened to Dune Messiah, and I'm currently listening to Children of Dune. Okay. Those are the other books. Also, the dragonfly ships are thopters. Right. Okay. Nerd up, man. Shots fired. You're right. They are thopters. I only know what a thopter is because of Magic the Gathering. Greg, you know about that, right? Yeah. Well, and like in the spice thing, like Ron, technically C-3PO references it in the 1977 A New Hope. It's like, we'll be scrapped or sent to the spice mines of Kessel or whatever. And then they kind of like expanded upon the spice trades. So did George Lucas borrow from Dune? When was the book written? Dune 60s? So did he pull that reference into A New Hope? It's possibly the first movie that actually needed to be a multi-part just to do it justice. Okay, yeah. Ornithopter flying 02, yeah. Dude, I need to play some Magic. I haven't played in years, man. It's been a long time. And honestly, it was because I was spending too much money on it. I said, I gotta pull the plug. I can't do this anymore. I love the game, and it's so exciting, but I was dumping so much money on booster boxes. It's bad news. June was 65. Okay. Oh, you pulled it in. Okay. Lucas was inspired by it. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the knowledge, the Dune knowledge. Yeah, I mean, just thinking about what does it take place in kind of like a 10,000 years or something like that? Doesn't it? Yeah, it's like super future. And to think about where humanity could be with spaceflight in the year 10,000. I don't even know what we're gonna do by then. Hopefully, we have to be multiplanetary by then. I can't imagine. We would have to come up with, some kind of technology to travel other planets. But I really liked the vision that Dune has put in for what it might be like to have governments and families that have power and, controlling other planets, and hopefully, not to be taken over by oppressive regimes. That'd be a terrible thing. But I think the imagination and the thought about where you could end up as a human species on different planets would be awesome. Yeah, you're still playing Magic. Yeah, I figured. If I sat down to play, I'd be super rusty. But I feel like I play in phases throughout my life. Like I come and go. But I still love the idea of Magic. I know they did a crossover with Dungeons and Dragons, like Forgotten Realms, right? And stuff like that. I thought that was really neat. I did buy one. I think I have it right here. Actually, it's sat here since I bought it. It's super dusty because I haven't moved it, but I did buy one pack of this Magic the Gathering, the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. I don't think I got anything good. Oh no, dropped the pack. I just like, you know what? I'll drop the $4. I just want to see what's in this. Yeah, I didn't get a mythic rare. But as a person who casually plays Dungeons and Dragons, I thought it was really cool to see a crossover finally. Unless they'd done one in the past and I didn't know about it, but and they had like those little cards that give you kind of maps and stuff. Pretty neat. Wow, there's a lot of text here. Yeah, 10,191. Sorry, I'm reading. When I finished Dune, it was like Star Wars meets Game of Thrones. Yeah, I guess I could see that. Computers are banned after a galactic war against AI 10,000 years before. Ooh, yeah, okay. It's a religious command. Thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of a man's mind. Oh, yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, well, lots of good nerd content to discuss, that's for sure. So just moving on a little bit to channel stuff. I shot a video last night, which I haven't done in a really long time. I'm going to be honest. I've been, really relaxed about my video shoot schedule, unfortunately. And I really want to start pouring the gas on again, getting new content. The live streams have been great. I've been all for that, and that's been nice to ride on, but I do need to pepper in some more like produced content. So I shot something, I'm editing. I'm probably about halfway done with it. And hopefully, gosh, I would love for it to be out by Friday if I can. It's a really short video, and I'm trying to decide if I should tease it for you guys or not. I did on Twitter. Yeah, right. You could talk about it forever, Josh. Let's be honest, but that's a good thing. Own the nerd pride. So let's see here. All right. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna tease you. I'm gonna show you. Have you guys heard of this? I kept the bottle. Have you heard of Starlight Coca-Cola? Because I discovered this and I didn't know what it was, but I did a tease or like a test. I was like, there's a space Coca-Cola. This is awesome. I had no clue that it was around. I walked by it and I said, I got to try this. So I made a video. It was like a product review video, or I test, space Coke. I'm really excited. I think I had a lot of fun shooting it, and like I said, it's halfway done, edited, and I'm getting it there. I'm trying to make it fun and lighthearted and kind of silly, but it is space related, and that's why I'm putting it on the channel. I'm like, it'll break the pace a little bit here. So be looking out for that in the next couple of days if things go really well. But yeah. Starlight Coca-Cola. Cool. Well, I'm probably going to wrap it up here then. It's 9:15. Been on for about an hour. A little over an hour. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's good to hang out with you guys. Excuse me. Yeah. Keep an eye out for space news, and hopefully things sort themselves out with the war. And I hope that we can, get resuming back to space flight as we know it. Lots of big stuff supposed to come up this year, stateside, and I just hope that the global scene is maintains itself so that we're able to keep doing space, because it's too important to mess it up for squabbling. But yeah. Yeah, so be ready for Starlight Coke video. Oh, James, you were there. Hey, man. I see you. Thanks for saying hey. Did I miss a chat from you earlier? No, I don't think so. Okay, I just want to make sure. So yeah, be ready for the Starlight Coca-Cola video that we got coming out soon, and then live stream next week at 8 p.m. Wednesday night, as always. And come prepared with your space questions. I'll try to think of another topic to talk about. If you missed tonight's stream, if you hopped in late, we talked about different space observatories, like space telescopes that are out in space looking into the universe. So probably about halfway through, somewhere in there, I was reading out the names of the different observatories and what they do. Yeah, we'll think of another topic to come through. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, I hope you all have a fantastic week and enjoy some good space stuff. We'll catch you all next time. See you on the other side, everybody.